Here and Now, the program featuring the news and interests of the African American community. Here's your host, Sandra Bookman.
Coming up, a Here and Now exclusive, a conversation with former NBA All-Star Jayson Williams. He reflects on his recovery from addiction and on his time spent in prison after an accidental shooting at his home. And later, we'll head to Long Island, where Jayson is using his second chance at life to help others with their own rebound on the road. That's all ahead on this special half-hour edition of Here and Now. New York legend and NBA All-Star Jayson Williams is no stranger to overcoming life's ups and downs. In 2010, in the midst of a problem with substance abuse, he was charged with aggravated assault in the death of his limo driver and sentenced to 5 years in prison. A DWI charge added an additional year. Well, these days, Jayson has a game plan to help others on their own road to redemption, rediscovering their own greatness with the help of his foundation, Rebound. It is our pleasure to welcome Jayson Williams. It is so great to see you.
Sandra, it's my honor to come in here.
Yeah.
You are a legend and you look great.
Oh, please. So you think starting with a compliment is going to get me?
Because I know you're going to go in. So, because it's here and now, right?
Yes.
It's not there and then. So
Yeah.
be easy on me.
Okay, so we're going to start with there and then.
Okay.
Just talk to me about the night the shooting happened.
Right.
And you know, and how that situation just spiraled out of control and honestly took a hold of your life.
Right. So Sandra, it wasn't in your introduction you said my limousine driver. It was a limousine driver that was hired by a restaurant that I frequent to come bring us home. I went to a Harlem Globetrotter game with my kids, and you know the story with my sisters. And so I had to adopt their kids, and they had kids, so it was really my great grandkids that I was bringing. My dad was at the game. We went to a Globetrotter game. We came back and we had something to eat. And they were going one way. And I said, hey, you guys come to my house and let's go see my house that my dad built. And they called a limousine driver who was Mr. Christophe. First time I met him, I asked him to have dinner with us. And we joked around and, you know, had a good time. And we went to the house. And it was something. You know, I should have been showing off some paintings and old cars and the way my dad built the house, but I had a skeet machine out back and I had a bunch of shotguns in the bedroom, and I was showing them all these shotguns to the Harlem Globetrotters, and I did not see Mr. Christophe. Turned around, I was showing people guns, and everybody just about had a gun in their hand. The gun went off and accidentally killed Mr. Christophe. And, we called 911 inside of 11 seconds, and they said that I ran downstairs and jumped in the swimming pool and came back up, and I was half naked and going all around, and I believed them. I went right into shock. And
were you under the influence?
No, I don't think I was under the influence then. I think, you know, we're doing a documentary, and this is time when we sit down and think about doing this documentary, and it's going to be the first time I tell my story the whole way through, and we're going to walk it all the way through, because I had to do it was start getting help right away and trying to help others, which I was doing my whole life, but I definitely caused that accident. You know, Mr. Christophe could be here right now if I did not cause that accident. I take responsibility for that. He had a sister. He was incarcerated. He got out. He got a good job. And I took everything Mr. Christophe had and everything he will have. And that's a feeling that I wish on no person. So I don't want anybody to, you know, ever feel sorry for me, because there was something that I could have done without acting recklessly to save Mr. Christophe's life. If you had one and you touch a gun,
you're under the,
right, you know, show.
And it's important to you to one of the reasons I think that you wanted to talk about what happened then is because you want to show people where you come from, why the work you're doing now is so important. You spent 27 months in jail, right?
Yep.
In prison.
Yep.
You got out, and what? Once you got out of prison, what was your mindset? What did you decide you needed to do then?
Well, I got out, Sandra, and I said, I paid my debt to society. I was totally remorseful and repentant, but you take a man's life, that's something you have to live with for the rest of your life. Anytime you start laughing or joking or you feel like you're doing something good, you have to I remind myself, hey man, you know, you did some serious actions here and there's repercussions behind that. So when I got out, you know, you go, all right, the sun is shining, it's a good day. I'm gonna go out and maybe I can get back into working and television and getting hugs, and then nobody had their hands out to help me anymore. You know, the same people that politicians and everybody who wanted you in every picture no longer want you. So that was a terrible feeling. And like I said, I don't want anybody. The world has been good for me. Basketball has been great to me. I have a lot of things to be happy for, but for what happened to Mr. Mustafi, that's something that could have been avoided. And I just could not get back to into sync where people were saying, you know, come on back into this picture right now.
Yeah, and which led you to believe. Let me ask you, did prison change you at all?
Oh, yeah.
The event itself, those circumstances, but what about prison?
Prison was rough. Prison was rough. I went in and I was like, I'm claustrophobic. You know, and I say claustrophobic, I mean claustrophobic. So when I went in and they locked that door, slammed that door and locked it again, I was like, oh, and I'm trying to count my breath. And then when I went in there the first time at the assessment center at Trenton, you know, the governor sent down, well, Jayson don't have to go to the assessment center. We know where we're going to send him. And I shouted out, no, I'm going to do my time like everybody else. Until they boom, locked that door. And I was in there with 3 other people and there was no windows. And they started breathing. I was like, hey, y'all got to quit breathing because I don't know how much more air is in this place. So, you know, it was that kind of terrible feeling. But the biggest feeling, Sandra, is once you get over prison, the toughest prison I've ever been is between my ears, right? You can never get over that. You never can get over where I feel really good for a long period of time because I accidentally took a man's life, and that's something that's going to stick with you. But did prison help me? I met a guy named Matt Mayer in there who got in some trouble. He was a pro soccer player, and we said, hey man, we're going to be in here. Jay, don't go over here and trying to knock everybody out. There's too many of them. And get yourself together and quit cursing and use your influence for good. And I end up, me and him sat right across from the same table every morning, and I ended up writing a book called Humbled. Letters to my father, letters from prison, and that was kind of therapy for me. And I helped Matt because he needed some charisma, and we started working, and we started a church in prison, and it was great because now he came out, went to Cape May, and he started his own church, and he has a church, and so some good things came out of prison. I won't recommend it for anyone.
No, well, I think that's probably smart if you can avoid that. You went to Florida and you started this program called Rebound. Talk to me a little bit about that and why it was important for you to do this.
Well, I didn't go voluntarily. All right.
Okay.
So I ended up buying a cabin up in upstate New York. And I said, you know what? I had the heck with everybody else. I'm just going to go up here, get in this cabin, read Walden on the Pond, Walden, and you know, and I went up there and I was like, all right, and I met my caretaker, a great guy, and I was like, oh. Then I started drinking more and more and more. And then Curtis Martin, Hall of Fame running back, and Charles Oakley came up to say, hey, man, you got to go to treatment. Now, Curtis, one of the greatest human beings I ever met in my life. You know, it's been with me through every step, and so is Charles Oakley, but they came in 2 different ways, right? Curtis Martin came in with, what would Jesus do? Charles Oakley came with this Louisville Slugger and said, what would this bat do? So one way or the other, you're going like this or you're going like this.
They were good friends.
They were very good friends, along with Chris Mullen, the other Hall of Famer. And they, you know, shipped me down to Florida, and I went down to Florida, and I spent 30 days, and just like when you get out of prison, you come back in and say, hey, I'm good, I'm well. And they go, nah, Jay, you did too much damage to yourself. You got to go back down there. And I was like, well, I'm not going back to that program. They said, well, create your own. And I went in and I said, well, what didn't I like about treatment? You know, I was too boring going from class to class. And I said, well, I'm going to start something called outdoor adventure therapy. Because when I was in treatment, I asked for volleyball and I asked for basketball, and I watched how it changes the culture. So we started, you know, I'm a pilot, so we do some solo flights. I take them up, throw them out of the airplane and rebound. So we do a lot of skydiving, we do a lot of horseback riding, stand-up paddleboarding, hydroboarding. We do 19 different activities you've probably never done in your life. And while we're doing all this stuff, son, you know, we're still doing regular therapy and regular treatment. And I thought I would only be there for about 2 months. And then all of a sudden, you know, 10 years later, I'm back up here working with Spring Hill Wellness and doing the same thing and introducing that to the program, and we have, we got 2 locations right here in Brooklyn and 1 in Manhattan.
So let's go back to the Rebound program in Florida. The idea behind this, it's essentially helped you get your head and life together. And you said, you know what? There are a lot of other people that could use this help. And so that's kind of how this thing has snowballed into Rebound on the Road, right?
Exactly. So through Spring Hill Wellness, right? And we all work because I believe this best social program is a career. So if you're going to help somebody, get them a career. When I was in prison, nobody pushed up on me for ramen noodles or coffee or sugar, or cigarettes, maybe because I'm big and crazy. And, you told me I was 6'7" when I came in here. And I said, I'm glad it ain't a contract here because I'll be 7 foot. But, they came up and they said, Jay, can you help me with a job? If you give a man a job, a woman a job, and you give them not a second chance, another chance, because their second chance, we all been through that. You give them a career. And that's what we do on Rebound on the Road. We have a CDL class where you come in with us for 8 weeks and we help you transition with transitional therapy through Spring Hill Wellness. We get all the therapy for your family and everything that you need, and we get you a job when you graduate driving a tractor trailer. My dad was a tractor trailer driver. I had my CDL license forever. I'm out there helping and instructing, and so it's a great privilege and it's an honor for me because I get some type of peace when people can depend on me, Sandra.
Yeah, I get, what I get from you is that you are still, in a way, making amends for the damage you feel like you did. And helping these other people is helping you as well.
I was at Spring Hill yesterday, and I go there, so I never sleep. I get to the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you have to, take care of yourself. And the only time I can do that is between 4 and 7. Because then once I hit the job, and I don't call it a job, it's a passion. I don't get paid for this. I love doing it. And it's not me paying my debt to society. It's me being in an atmosphere and environment where nobody's judging me. Because everybody I'm working with is not broken. We might be cracked and we might be crazy, but we all not crazy at the same time. So I'm listening to their problems. They helping me, I'm helping them. And it's just where I like to be. I don't like really doing television anymore. I don't like, bringing cameras in. But there's at times where you have to let people know there's people that you can go to. You go to Spring Hill and you can get people that love you and your family and get better. And so this is where I used to be so comfortable watching you, and watching Sue Simmons and all the great ones here in New York. And now I promised myself I would never want to go out and do this anymore. But you feel like you found what is at this point your life's work. Right. It's a passion. I would never wake up in the morning. When I get to the gym in the morning, I'm not getting to the gym to go, I got to get up because these guys only got 90 days with me. I get to the gym going, I got to come down. I got to come down because these people going to think I'm on some kind of something. So I got to get down because I have to be the same person every day. And what Curtis Martin taught me is about consistency. So me being consistent every day and bringing it to try to help change people's lives, help me help others, help me at the same time. So it's really me, through the grace of God, helping others, help me.
What's really great about the program, and you're coming back to New York, you're working with Spring Hill Wellness Center, but also you are partner with Nassau County. Right. And a substance abuse rehabilitation program there, right? Yes. And this is essentially part of Rebound on the Road. Right. That's okay.
So Nassau County came to us and they said, hey, Jay, can you help us with some people in reentry? Me being reentry, returned citizens. People want to make a difference and pay taxes and get themselves together in their life and be productive citizens. So I said, hey, I would do this under, some amendments. We're going to do it right, and we're going to make sure that we get them jobs, careers when they finish. So Bruce Blakeman and his team came in and said, hey, we have $100 million that are put aside from the opioid settlement that we want to start programs like yourself. Yeah. Of course, we're nowhere near $100 million program. Yeah. But he said, hey, I'm going to make a difference, and you'll be surprised because it's Nassau County, right? And So that's what we're doing, Sandra. And if they don't, that they made a pledge. If they don't, I'm coming back. It'd be a whole different show.
No,
okay?
I think that the program is working, and that's
you.
what they were interested in. If just thinking about where you are now in your life, and where you were 20 years ago, what have you learned that you tell your younger self?
I came from a good family. I came from a dad who was a brick mason and owned a gas station on 151st Street and 7th Avenue, drove truck. My mom worked 2 jobs. I came from the best of family. I came from a loving family. I think self-esteem, like why would I even have a gun, right? That's the thing, right? Now, even though with shotguns and we shooting skeet, I did have pistols. So when I go in all around the country and I tell young people, I said, why, if I'm in a club, why would I need a gun? Why am I in the club anyway? But if I'm in the club, why would I need a gun? Because I'm spending the most money in there. You know what it's from, Sandra? It's from the people in your close circle that know your darkest secrets, and you got to be some kind of, let them know I'm not no studio gangsters, and y'all better not say what I did or what I did here or here and what's going on. That's where my self-esteem got low. I needed a lot of people around me telling me how great I was. And my dad used to tell me all the time, he's come in and say, Jayson, man, you're letting all these people in your business. He said, you only need 2 or 3 friends, and me and your mama is that too, and you need 1 more, and that's it. Yeah. I would tell people about watching, the company that you keep is so important, because you show me your friends, I'm gonna show you your future. So right now, I have breakfast friends, I have lunch friends, and dinner friends. The breakfast friends, I kind of don't trust where you're going to be at. The lunch friends, even though you know me 40 years, but the dinner friends, you better best be on the same page in your life spiritually and mentally with me.
Are you happy with your life now? Are you satisfied?
Working on it. Working on it.
What are the tears?
You've caused so much pain. It's nothing to be happy about. It's about right now doing what you have to do to stay productively efficient in business and helping people. And every day you put a little more pebbles into the pot. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sitting down with us and talking about what has been a difficult journey, I'm sure. But what you're trying to do now is to change other lives and help people not make some of the same mistakes that you made. And that's important.
Thank you, sir.
That is important.
Thanks for having us.
No, it is my pleasure. And Rebound on the Road has been successful for 10 years. Rebound, and then Rebound on the Road. And I want to send people to a couple of places. Reboundforlife.org. That is your website, right? And then springhillwellnessny.com. And specifically for the program here. And if somebody's interested in this program or getting help themselves or getting someone into it, what do they need to do?
Just email us at any one of those addresses, and we'll get back to them.
All right. Is it cost? Is there a cost?
It's free.
It's free.
Yep.
All right. Jayson Williams, it is such a pleasure to see you again. And when we come back, we'll head to Long Island to show you how Jayson is helping others find their own road to recovery. We just heard from former NBA star Jayson Williams. He was quite candid about what it took to overcome addiction and about his regret for his role in that deadly accidental shooting that landed him in prison. Well, now he is using his second chance to help other formerly incarcerated individuals find their own path forward. We recently got an up-close look at his successful Rebound on the Road tractor-trailer driving program. The Rebound on the Road is in full gear on the campus of Nassau Community College in Garden City, New York.
We maintain the maintenance and the safety of our truck drivers.
3 months of intense training, rehabilitation, and even adventure, potentially changing lives forever.
Everybody always talking about give somebody a second chance. If anybody's like me, I don't need a second chance. I need another chance. Because I've messed up so many times. I've hurt so many people. I've done so many things that I wish I can do over. And I have the resources to help somebody get another chance and the best feeling in the world is helping somebody who you know can never help you back.
As a community college, it's about giving back. And it's important that we need to give certain folks a second chance at life. And Jayson's program, which was the perfect example of training folks that were incarcerated to come out and learn a skill so that they could get a job and be productive and be able to provide for their families. And with the county involved, there were jobs waiting for folks who passed the program.
How many?
10 inches off the ground. My life was kind of hectic. I was going through a little trouble situation. I was formerly incarcerated for 18 years. Since I was 21 years old, I went to jail. So when I first got out, I started working a real job 2 weeks after I came home from prison, but it wasn't enough money. I was working in the warehouse, driving a forklift, working 1 million hours a week, and it wasn't adding up. So driving trucks was always my dream. My grandfather was a truck driver, owner, operator since I was a kid. And I actually used to get kicked out of school just so I could get in the truck with him and go on the road. He was a long distance truck driver.
They always get here early and they never ask to leave early. You know, I'm honest to God to you, I don't know if they told you this, but I think this is like our 61st day. And I don't think we missed one day, 61 straight days.
I was a musician on my spare time, touring musician. I would tour out of states with a lot of the bands that are here on Long Island. And I unfortunately got myself into a little bit of trouble with the law, but I'm back on the mend again, doing great things. Working for myself, this program has allowed me to actually rebuild my life, repair the mistakes that I've made in my life. My family is so proud of me, and it's just been an utmost blessing at that, to be back here doing what I love.
All right, guys, let's shut all 4 trucks down. Let's do a pre-trip. All right. Lock them up.
The course focuses on pre-trip training before these new truck drivers get behind the wheel.
After I put the cap on, I go to my power steering shaft. This right here is what helps me steer in the truck. If you see the steering wheels moving, this right here cannot have more than 10 degrees of play in it, and it's held together by U-bolts, U-joints.
That's good. So, all right. I get them jobs that leads to careers soon as they check into the door. All right, take up a little more room on this side because you're gonna be tight. Look back over on the other side. Check your mirrors on both sides. Good job, Thomas.
Before this program, I was just working at McDonald's. Really, I worked at McDonald's for a long time. I was in jail for a while. So basically, this program's here to help people better their lives. So I figured, I was stuck. I figured I might as well give this an opportunity. Not everybody gets this.
We got a round of applause for Tim just getting his CDL Class A. All right. We got one young man here who's got a job offer at $87,000 a year starting off. Now, is that not a career? Coming from where you just came from, not having a place to live, and just putting it in 3 months of time, and then come out and get a job offer like that? It's amazing. I have a professional team come in for Rebound, and all instructors come in and they throw them through the stuff that gets them their CDL license. Now the difference is, they teach them how to get their CDL license. I teach them how to be professional drivers. Reentry people who are coming back into society, we're not trying to get back into trouble. All we want is another chance, and I have the resources. I don't just put my name on it, and I'm actually here with them in the trenches because I know, because I've been there. I'm a warning, I'm an example, sometimes I'm both, but with them, they can understand it. And you gotta lead by example. I gotta be here with them, I gotta be the first one and last one to leave. And that's the way my dad taught me, if you wanna run any business, it's not a business for me, I don't get paid. This is a passion.
A passion that stems from working with his father, a brick mason who was also a truck driver.
Before I played Michael Jordan that night, I had to feed the animals at my farm. My dad would say, Jay, take that little boy 53-foot trailer, drop off at D5 in Newark, then go to shoot around for the game, and then come back after shoot around, and then lay out these corners. And after I laid out those corners, he'll say, now you can go play basketball, because he didn't think basketball was a job. So I've been driving my whole life.
And he's determined to give these new drivers a long-lasting roadmap to recovery.
Every morning, we have our psychiatrists, our therapists on hand, because transitional, right? Just transitional. And not every morning somebody needs to see them, but some mornings they do. Transitional. Just taking somebody who's homeless, taking somebody who's been coming out of prison for 20 years, taking somebody who's been on drugs and alcohol for a big part of their life, and just saying, here goes a career. They're gonna make the same mistakes, and they need support. I added outdoor venture therapy, which we did yesterday, right? Everybody in my program, you're gonna skydive when the program's over.
Rebound on the road is not just a driving school, it's a family. I kind of look at Jayson as like a father figure. My father got killed when I was young, 3 years old. And Jayson reminds me of my grandfather. He's an NBA All-Star. He could be doing anything in the world, but he's here with us every day.
Sandra Bookman and Here and Now will be right back.
Thank you for joining us on Here and Now. If you missed any portion of today's show, you can watch at abc7ny.com/hereandnow or listen to our podcast wherever you subscribe. If you'd like to comment or share your story, email us at hereandnow@wabc.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Sandra Bookman. Enjoy the rest of your day.